world is so topsy-turvy.
Yes.
Your own personal world,
Yes.
and then the greater world. There's nothing to do but just to laugh.
You have to.
Because otherwise, people go out and do nutty
Listen,
things.
it's your best stab at sanity to just be able to laugh.
Holy smokes. What a day. What a day indeed.
Who makes you laugh?
Who makes me laugh? My kids.
Okay.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
You mean as far as like comedians making me laugh or just people?
I didn't even specify.
Yeah. My kids always make me laugh. I mean, that whole thing. Ken makes me laugh. Mm-hmm. He's a crazy
Ken's
nut.
very funny.
Yeah. Even my friend Mike Smith, he makes me laugh.
Yeah, he's very funny also.
People are surprising in their humor in that, you kind of look at people and go, that's very subversive the way.
You know
that
who's
they present.
subversively funny? My husband.
Yes, he is.
Isn't he?
Yes.
You wouldn't think it when you first meet him. And then
Yeah.
after you're with him for a while, you're like, well, I didn't know that was going to...
When my wife laughs, she makes me laugh.
John's wife has the best laugh
my
of all time.
gosh.
I watched Waiting for Guffman
With
one
her?
time.
With her.
Waiting for Guffman, starring, what's his name? Corky St. Clair.
Corky St.
is the main
Clair, yeah.
character.
With her, with Rhonda.
With Rhonda. And her laugh... And here's what we were doing. We were hiding from our children who were at Vacation Bible School.
Yeah.
We were watching Waiting for Guffman in a small room in our church. And, the children were being taken care of. And so we had a few minutes to ourselves. And so we were watching this. And she was laughing so loud. We were all like, you're going to get us busted.
Right.
Like, we're supposed to be volunteering. But instead, we're up here watching a movie.
Yeah.
And no one knows we're here until now.
You know how you know your parents laugh?
Yeah.
Okay, so my kid was like in a play, like in junior high. And of course, you're in the audience watching the play and, you're loving your kid. My wife starts to laugh. My kid, without even thinking, automatically turns towards the laughter, on stage. His whole body moves to face his mom.
Because he just knew.
He knew exactly where
Right.
she was. So he was like performing for an audience of one. It's fabulous. People are funny.
Oh, people are funny, John.
All right. Thank goodness that we do have the funny bone that God has given us.
Sure.
Kathy always gives us the news stories as we
Yeah.
start the show. So please, without further ado, give us the top 4 at 4.
All right, for Thursday, February 10th, 2022. Let's start local, John.
All right.
Number 1. A proposal to allow Pittsburgh restaurants to continue offering outdoor dining is essential for some restaurants' survival, according to several community organizations.
Really?
Now, I
What?
guess that doesn't surprise me because during COVID, you get used to things, right? We've been for 2.5 years eating outside.
What you mean? These like little bubbles that people have, or the big,
Or just eating on the street, having tables on the street.
It seems, are you concerned? I'm not concerned about that.
About eating on the street?
No, about going into a restaurant.
No, I'm not, but a lot of people are. A lot of people, that seems
Really?
to be
I'm
a
not-
big flag. Anyway, the Trib reports that legislation before City Council would allow restaurants and retailers to apply for permits to use sidewalks and streets for dining and shopping.
All right.
From this point going forward.
But then people come by and hassle you, and they drink your iced tea and take
And
a
a
bite
lot
out
of,
of your
let's be honest,
sandwich.
a lot of sidewalks in Pittsburgh you don't necessarily want to eat on.
No. I during COVID we went to Mad Mex in Oakland.
Oh
and
my gosh!
We ate out.
Could you hear each other talking?
Well,
You're
we were
right
like,
on Atwood Street.
Seriously, across the street was like this picturesque display
Atwood?
of like 15 garbage
That's
cans.
a nasty part of
Oh, it
Atwood.
was so nasty. It really was. So, you choose your spot. I guess. A rooftop dining is always very nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
93% of restaurants, John, across the state have seen decline in the demand for indoor dining. So a lot of people disagree with us.
All right.
Number 2, ticket resale company TickPick
Don't know them.
is reporting that the cost for buying Super Bowl tickets has fallen about $1,000 in the past 48 hours.
Really?
Yes. Kyle Zorn, who works for the company and is quoted in today's USA Today, said that the asking price for a seat in Section 506 has fallen from $5,400 to $4,400 and said that there's still inventory which could lead to lower prices. As of this morning, StubHub's cheapest ticket for sale dropped to $3,300. Would you pay $30,000
No.
if you had a lot of money?
No.
Would you? See, I would never do that.
No. Who cares?
Don't you think football's better?
At home.
I really do think it's better at
1,000%
home.
better at home.
I know that everyone who owns
Yeah.
a stadium is upset.
Although
with
if
me,
your
but
team
that's
was in the
way it
Super
is.
Bowl, you'd like to be there. in
I don't
person.
think I would.
I mean,
no. I'd rather be at a party at a friend's house. If
One
the
time
Ste-
I'd like to be there.
No, I
for
don't
fun.
think so. I
Next
don't
time the
care.
Steelers are in town, I'm going to get you tickets.
Okay, I don't care.
In the Super Bowl.
I don't care.
I'm going to pay.
I don't care. Number 3, Sting,
Ding Christie.
the artist formerly known as Sting.
Yeah.
He's still known as Sting. Has sold his songwriting catalog, including hits with the Police like Every Breath You Take, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, and If You Love Someone, Set Them Free, to the Universal Music Group in music's latest blockbuster catalog deal.
How much?
According to the New York Times, the transaction announced today, $300 million.
She.
That's the estimate. They didn't really talk about the actual dollar value. In December, Sony purchased Bruce Springsteen's entire catalog for $550 million. Would you pay $220 million more for Bruce Springsteen's stuff than Sting's? I'd reverse that easily.
Yeah.
Do you like
strokes.
Springsteen more than Sting?
It's kind of hard to say. No, but I love Sting and the Police. I love them.
Yeah.
That's my first choice.
Do you have any contact with either one of those, Christy?
I know who they are.
But
I don't. Yeah, I
no
really
connection.
don't care. Yeah.
You didn't know that song I sang? If you love someone, set them free.
That's
No,
That's a
I do
great
know
song.
every little thing she does is
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
It's all boomer music.
Number 4.
Boomer.
This is specifically for you, John, because you're not
Okay.
paying attention. American Nathan Chen won figure skating gold last evening in a free program with 5 quadruple jumps, finally squashing the images of his performance at the Olympics 4 years ago that was truly emotionally painful.
It hasn't stayed with me. It really hasn't.
Chen received a season's best score that destroyed the competition, and if he wasn't in a mask, I bet he would have looked really, really happy.
He was in a mask.
But as it was.
Wait, he was skating with a mask on?
No, but he was like, as you sit there in the little cry booth or whatever when you're waiting for your scores.
Yeah.
He's a 3-time reigning world champion, but said he never thought he'd actually be able to make Olympic gold happen. His coach, though, said he prepared meticulously and not just his skating. According to today's Wall Street Journal, listen to this. He constructed his own personal bubble inside the strict Beijing closed loop. He left his phone at home in the U.S. He resisted his urge to scroll for hours through social media and picked up his electric guitar instead.
Very nice.
Isn't that good? And that's your top 4 at 4.
All right. What I take from the whole thing is your cry booth.
What?
Right?
That's
Your own
what
little
it is.
personal cry booth. Is that what it's
Well, it's
called?
not. It's
the
not.
Cry booth? The cry booth.
I mean, that's what. I mean, informally, it's called it because you're sitting there waiting for your scores.
Imagine having a cry booth at home. You better be good. I'm going to plunge you into the cry booth.
I've cried a lot in different places
In
in
the
my
cry
house,
booth.
not relegated to one particular
You
location.
got a prayer closet. I guess you have a cry booth.
Okay,
right?
you can do
Same
that.
thing.
Coming up next, when politics replaces heroes, Selena Zito will join us next. What did you think of when you heard people opining about the collapse of the bridge?
Well, when you turned on the news the morning the bridge collapsed, who was on the bridge?
Oh, we were-
all the politicians.
Of course.
You think, oh, hey, guys, take a few steps over.
Some are wearing shorts.
101.5 WORD.
Pornography is at epidemic levels in our culture today, and Pastor Ray Ortland says we hold the key to breaking its power.
Porn will not go away until using porn, consuming porn, becomes unthinkable.
How we can bring about the death of porn. Next time on Family Life Today with Dave and Ann Wilson.
Tomorrow morning at 9 on 101.5 Word FM WORD.
Why doing it right? Roofing, siding, remodeling? It's simple. It's in their name.
Doing It Right uses only top quality materials and employs only experienced installation and management people to install and oversee your project.
Family owned and operated for 38 years, and with over 45 years of industry experience, you can be confident that your project will be installed the correct way.
Doing It Right does business honestly, taking no money down and collecting balance upon completion.
You'll receive a lifetime labor warranty from Doing It Right.
Doing It Right does all work to manufacturers, National Roofing Contractors Association, and Vinyl Siding Institute guidelines and specifications for a complete and headache-free installation.
Doing It Right is an Owens Corning Platinum contractor and James Hardy preferred contractor.
Most importantly, they're affordable, offering great financing options and accepting all major credit cards.
Be sure to mention John and Kathy for a discount off your roofing, siding, and remodeling estimates.
Call 724-NEW-ROOF or find them at roofingcontractorpittsburgh.com.
So I invested in one of those fancy new exercise bikes. Without a doubt, a very special tool to help me get healthier. The problem is 3 days go by, then 4, and I've done nothing. And then it's night 5, and I'm sitting at the kitchen table, and I look down at myself, and I can't help but just laugh. Because there I am, wearing the exercise t-shirt that came with the bike, and I'm eating 2 corn dogs. And I think we'd all agree, the special tool only matters if we use it to our benefit. At United Faith Mortgage, we believe we have an advantageous tool for you. Our mortgage team is an arm of a bigger company who is a direct lender, which means our company gets to use its own money and make its own decisions. There's no middleman. And often, this allows us to get you a better rate on your refinance or new home purchase, which can save you monthly and lifelong money. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Middle Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
This is Tim Seckler inviting you to tune in each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show, sponsored by my law firm, the Seckler Law Firm. Each week, we'll talk about your family's well-being as it relates to elder law, nursing home stays, estate planning, and keeping your hard-earned savings. And if you missed the Life and Legacy Show, you will find it archived at SecklerLawFirm.com. See you Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show.
When the bridge fell in Frick Park, which I did not know the name of the bridge was the Fern Hollow Bridge.
I don't think any of us did.
Right.
Did you know that there was a Fern Hollow at all?
No, and I've been there, all my life, walking through those trails.
Well, if you don't know, then who knew?
But when you turned on the TV that morning, the first thing you saw were politicians standing next to the wrecked bridge, which was really weird. Like all of a sudden, how'd that happen? Like, was a bus of Republicans and Democrats driving by and they all decided to jump off together, or they speed there quickly?
I think politicians just tend to they have like a magnet inserted. Wherever the emergency is, they just show up.
I don't know what it was. Selena Zito is back with us. She's been a guest on our show in the past. Author of The Great Revolt, Inside the Populist Coalition, Reshaping American Politics. She's also a writer for the Washington Examiner and the New York Post. And she wrote a piece, When Politics Replaces Heroes, in the Washington Examiner. And Selena, welcome back. How you doing?
Swell. How are you? I'm also a weekly columnist now at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Terrific.
Hey, good for you. Fabulous.
Congratulations on that, Selena.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the day the bridge collapses, John texts me at something like 7:15 in the morning and says, run to your television, see what's going on. So I go down to my TV. And, of course, the first thing that we're all experiencing is horror that this could happen. And the second thing is, was anybody killed? Because we assume that people had to have been killed, because how could a bridge collapse when no one's killed? We find out nobody's killed. And it's just like such a surge of gratefulness, relief, and then that no one was killed. And then you have to find out how was nobody killed in the collapse of a bridge. So, Selena, it seems like that's what you were thinking at the same time, but local politicians, that's not where they go first.
Right, that's not where they go first. In particular, Governor Tom Wolf. He's the one that made it political instantaneously. As soon as the word got out that no one was killed, and that actually there were no severe injuries, which again is unbelievable when you look at those photos, right? But he immediately blames Republicans for not voting for the infrastructure bill as if it were the cause. And he makes this sort of scant reference to the police for responding quickly. And he did like a whole thread of tweets, and all of them were very divisive and very political. And the first thing that he tweeted was that, about the infrastructure bill, and then they didn't fund this bridge. Well, that money didn't come from the Fern Hollow Bridge was never in the infrastructure bill. Right. And so he was misinformed at best. But lying, at worst, it depends on how you look at it. And the thing that really sort of struck me was there was very little mention of the fact that there were 5 police officers on the scene immediately. It was pitch black. The streetlights had been knocked out. There was this hiss and just that overwhelming scent of natural gas filling the air, and yet they not only repelled themselves down there, but they formed a human chain to make sure that everyone down there was stabilized, and because I think it was like 4 degrees that morning. Even if they hadn't been seriously injured, exposure was going to become an issue almost instantaneously. And yet, Wolf made politics the heroes and not the people that actually that made differences in that moment and risked their lives.
Amen to that. That's 100% correct, Selena. I mean, truly it is. In the piece that you write, you say this: we are living in a time in which our cultural curators, those in power in government, academia, institutions, corporations, and entertainment, are upside down in understanding what matters in most of the country. I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. That's very well said.
Well, and it's true. I literally wrote a whole entire book about it. Our cultural curators are very disconnected from the people that they serve and the people who buy their products or sit in their seats or go to their schools. What do I mean by cultural curators? I mean those in power, institutions, academia, government, corporations, sports entities, and Hollywood. They live and work in the wealthiest zip codes in our country.
Yep.
And they are very disconnected from the people who they either serve or who buy their products and or who sit in their seats at football and baseball and hockey games.
Yeah, and I think that that's a danger, right, for anyone who's in any elected office, is that you start to just listen to the people who are on your team, who are on your board, who are on your whatever, instead of realizing that there's like a bigger pool of people out there. Selena, I have to tell you, though, I saw the governor's tweet that day, and I didn't know that the Fern-Hollow Bridge would not have been included in that infrastructure bill. So I would be like the average person who just saw that tweet and thought, okay, well, he must be right about that.
Right, and that's shameful. That's shameful that he didn't. Everybody rushes to get their tweet out, to get their snark out, whatever. And we have to be our own best fact checkers. And I get it. Politics is his game. However, governors and are supposed to be more pragmatic than that. They're supposed to be more dispassionate than that because they're supposed to be good executives of states. So the reaction should have been, and it doesn't matter if this is a Democrat or a Republican. The first reaction should have been, the first 3, 4, 5 tweets should have been naming the police officers who went down there and risked their lives and talked about their heroism, or talk about the fireman who drove his 4-wheel drive truck, brand new, was only a week old, down into the ravine because the first responders couldn't get their trucks out to get the people out.
Yeah.
That's who you talk about.
Especially, there's the governor is a lame duck governor, so he has nothing to win or lose just by speaking the truth, right?
Well, except governors think about their legacies, just like presidents do. They want their party to win the next election.
Right, of course.
So that is unfortunately what he is thinking.
Right. Okay. So, Selena, we're all old enough to remember, pre-internet. 40 years ago, this would have happened. Politicians may have shown up eventually, but the speed at which they showed up and were, stumping in some ways was kind of shocking, wasn't it?
Well, it was, except Joe Biden was there that day, so they were all in town. In their defense, they literally were in the neighborhood. They were going to be in Hazelwood, which is just a stone's throw from there.
You're right about that.
So they were all going to be in the neighborhood. But again, look, to be honest, the two people that should have been there and talking empathetically, and who did, by the way, was Mayor Ed Gainey and Chief Executive Rich Fitzgerald. Both of them,
great job.
All they talked about was about the first responders. To their great credit, they spoke very powerfully and eloquently about what they did.
100%.
They did it right.
Yeah, they sure did. Hey, listen, just as a side note, not to be snarky, but what's up with the lieutenant governor and his shorts?
What
the heck?
That
seriously.
you get to a point where where you become sort of a parody of yourself.
Yeah.
And
was that day that moment?
He may have jumped the shark at that moment.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that right.
Okay. Selena Zito with us, author of The Great Revolt Inside the Populist Coalition Reshaping American Politics. Selena, I was on my way to work. Was that yesterday or the day before? Anyway, there was a backup on the Fort Pitt Bridge. And for the first time ever, I mean, I've lived in Pittsburgh my entire life. I've crossed these, rivers in infinite number. I got scared.
People are getting freaked out.
I got scared on the bridge. Have you experienced that?
I have too. I mean, that bridge collapsing, like at that moment, every irrational fear that every user has ever had about a bridge came true, and now it's not irrational.
Right. That's exactly
I was thinking the exact same thing driving home yesterday along the Parkway East and got stuck over, I don't even know what bridge it was. It doesn't even matter. I was just like, I really don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cars on here. We must be really heavy. Oh, my God, there's a dump truck in front of me. We're all going to die.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
That was, that's where my brain went.
So now PennDOT's going to start charging for a therapist fee at every bridge crossing, right?
Right. You have to pay a little token.
Yeah.
A toll for therapy. Might be worth it. Selena, thanks for joining us. Good to talk to you again.
Hey, listen, congratulations on the Post-Gazette gig. It's good to have you back local in print.
Thank you. Yep, you can see it every Sunday. It's called The Middle of Somewhere. If people want to check out my work, they can just go to selenazito.com. It's free, it's fun, and it's not fattening.
Better than a pierogi.
That's well said.
Free, it's high praise
fun,
if you think about
and
it.
not fattening. That's very good.
Author of The Great Revolt Inside the Populist Coalition Reshaping American Politics, Selena Zito.
Hot plate specials?
Woo,
coming up next.
It's that time of the year at the Springhouse in 84. It's Dairy Farm Tour time. That's right. We actually invite classes of school children to our real working dairy farm. The children love feeding the calf, milking the cow, and even seeing where the cows sleep and smelling what they eat. Many children today have never even touched a baby calf, nor have they associated the wonderful cow as the source of the milk that they get from the grocery store. At the Springhouse in 84, we are so committed to teaching children about farming and helping them understand how much the city mouse and the country mouse truly need each other. Call 228-3339 or have your child's teacher set up a date for your child's classroom farm tour and let us share a little of our farm with you at the Springhouse in 84.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
The credit card debt happened when my daughter was born. I was using one credit card account to roll over into another credit card account, and it was snowballing.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
When I first called Trinity, the representative understood the need based on the situation. They were great people to work with. From the first phone call that I made, they had me on a track to mitigate the credit card debt.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
Working with Trinity gave me the ability to save thousands of dollars. My name's Doug, and thanks to Trinity, I'm debt-free for keeps.
Call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Be sure to tune in this weekend for Pittsburgh's favorite Christian music here on 101.5 WORD. Brought to you by United Faith Mortgage. Let us know what you want to hear at wordfm.com/requests.
Your life, your hopes, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m. It's really none of our business, and it shouldn't be anyone else's. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
101.5 WORD FM Pittsburgh. On your smart speaker by saying, play the word Pittsburgh. And on your phone via the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
Hi, I'm Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA. I'm excited to tell you about Saving America Radio and Freedom Square, which exists to create biblical citizens inspired for local change. This year, Freedom Square will be branching out to even more churches across America, when we're encouraging Christians across the nation to help us win the culture war and get one step closer to saving America. Be listening to our new program, Saving America, right here.
Catch Saving America with Charlie Kirk weekday mornings at 11:30 on 101.5 WORD.
Tonight we'll see mostly cloudy skies. Expect a nighttime low of 28. Some sunshine expected for tomorrow. Then increasing clouds. It will be breezy with a passing shower or two in the afternoon. We'll reach a high tomorrow of 50. Saturday we'll start off the weekend with cloudy skies. It'll be breezy with a bit of snow. Little to no accumulation is expected, however. We'll reach a high Saturday of 34. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
So, this is a new feature that we're going to travel along here for the next few months because Kath is having extensive renovations done in her home after many, many years of suffering. And I'm telling you, I've been to Kath's house numerous times. Her kitchen is about the size of someone's closet. It's tiny.
Really?
I can't believe you existed all those years.
Know.
It's a tiny.
I know. We've lived there 22 years.
Yeah. So a very small kitchen. So to make matters better, you've transitioned everything out of the kitchen, and you and your husband have moved to the second floor while the contractors have now shown up. Was it last week?
Yep. This is week 2.
Week 2 of the renovations. And so you're using now for your kitchen an air fryer and a hot plate. The two of you.
That's it.
It kind of like sounds like a Jimmy Cagney prison movie.
It is.
That's what it's like.
Yeah, it seems like that usually around 7:15 weeknights.
Right. Okay, so what was on the menu last night?
Well, thanks for asking, John.
Yeah.
Because the hot plate apparently has more flexibility than you might imagine.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just a regular size hot plate.
It's just a regular size. It's a dual feature. You know, so you have
two hot plates.
It's 2 hot plates. So this is what I did last night. I got a nonstick skillet. And I put it on top of the hot plate, and I put some olive oil in there. Okay. Now, the key before I even go into this is for you to understand that because there's no sink associated, we have no kitchen anymore. Whatever dishes you're doing, you have to clean in the bathtub. So you're very careful about how many dishes you're going to make dirty. Okay.
Right.
So anyway, let me go back to the story. So I pour some olive oil into the skillet, being very careful not to drip anywhere else that would require cleaning.
Of course.
Okay. And then I put a bag of these Trader Joe's chopped vegetables available in the produce section of Trader Joe's.
Wait.
So you've got like broccoli, carrots, kale, cabbage, onion, several things like that are already pre-chopped and pre-washed because I don't want to have to wash the vegetables in the bathtub, do I?
No,
That's disgusting. So I put that in the skillet.
Yeah.
Okay. And I cook it, saute it, maybe only 5 minutes. It's starting to get fragrant. Things are breaking down. It's looking good. In one more so all I've dirtied is the skillet.
Yeah.
Now I have a bowl that I'm going to crack 5 eggs into. Okay. And then I'm going to whip those suckers up, right?
Yep.
And then I'm going to pour the eggs that I have whisked onto the vegetables, and then I'm going to do the cheddar cheese that I purchased pre-grated because you guys made me feel ridiculous about it last week, and you know, even though you're wrong, at this point I'm desperate and I don't care. Put it over the top. I just tossed that together. That was dinner, my friends.
You know what? That's a good job.
Thank you.
That sounds really good.
Thank you.
It's very inventive. It's fresh, and it's quick. All the thing, and it's self-contained. Right, that's the key there, isn't it?
Really, only 2 dishes other than our plates that I had to clean in the bathtub.
Good job, Kath. So, so your whole menu preparation has changed drastically. Holy smoke!
It took me 5 days to come to terms with it.
I bet it has. Well, okay. So the good news is that your husband is a vegetarian. So it's not like you're, having to clean up, meat on a platter or meat on a chopping board.
It's not like I have to worry about what to do with the chicken skin.
Right. Now the hot plate, even though it has 2 burners, a skillet takes up 1.5.
Especially if it's a skillet that's big enough for dinner for 2 people.
So
you
really,
can't use the other one.
It's kind of useless.
No, you're only using the one.
So no air fryer. You've got an air fryer, but
But you can't use the air fryer and the hot plate at the same time because we only have one 3-prong outlet.
right now, and you do have a microwave
No, it's down in the basement.
in the basement. Okay. Are you sleeping in the same room where you're also cooking?
No.
Oh, that's good.
No, we've taken our daughter's room.
Okay.
And we've turned that into the kitchen, and we're sleeping upstairs.
And this will go on for approximately
3 months.
Maybe 3 months, because they'll uncover things that may slow things down.
Maybe.
So here we are, mid-February, mid-May.
Mid-May.
Okay, very nice. And then when you go downstairs, eventually, new kitchen, new arrangement in the whole downstairs.
Yes.
Fabulous.
But as of now,
Right.
just don't go downstairs.
Now, I would say this. I think you need to document this. Are you
Okay.
keeping some notes?
I'm keeping notes, and I take a video every day.
Okay, that's all you need, right? For posterity,
Exactly.
for your grandchildren. Nana was upstairs with eggs and
The raw vegetables.
And look at Nana.
Fighting with Pappy over who was going to do the dishes in the bathtub.
Because, people worry about slipping
no
in
one's
the
ever going
bathtub.
to call Eric Pappy, I'll tell you that.
Wouldn't it be horrible to slip on a piece of errant broccoli in the bathtub that was left behind from the skillet?
And you know what? We've come. You can't ever get in the shower in the morning and see any vestige of food. That is a horrible, horrible.
Of course it is.
It's a sin too deep.
I would imagine this would make you to be very fastidious in your cleanliness. Don't you think?
I can't
I would
tell you
hope
how
so.
many times I've cleaned.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you imagine you're doing the dishes in the toilet basin, something that's some crazy thing like that. I'm glad you're not even going there.
I mean, it's not that.
I'm just saying, people would think that. I mean, I'm just voicing what people are thinking.
Well, I think you're giving people ideas, John.
How's that
I think you're
working?
making again. It's one of these circumstances. He's making it much worse, Christy.
No, I mean, kudos to you. Anyway, what are we calling this?
Hot plate specials.
Hot plate specials at the Emmons house. All right.
Coming up next, good news. Oscar nominations are out. We're going to talk about the Best Picture nods coming up next. Right on.
WORD.
When God created us, He had a purpose for our lives. I'm Alan Jackson. I have the privilege of joining you each weekday to open our Bibles together. The Bible tells us that God has made us what we are. And in our union with Christ Jesus, He has created us for a life of good deeds, which He has already prepared for us to do. Join me and let's see what God has for us today.
A fresh look at Scripture, weekday mornings at 9:30. Alan Jackson Ministries on 101.5 WORD. If you're in the market for metal roofing, siding, and garage doors, Kaufman Metals in Bedford can meet your expectations with friendly professional service. Their equipment is right up to date with the newest technology and ready to produce your standard and customized metal panels and trims to your exact specifications for any project with the fastest turnaround in the industry. Plus, Kaufman Metals offers complete do-it-yourself building packages included with computer-generated drawings. Kaufman Metals also provides sales and service for CHI residential and commercial garage doors. They deliver any order, large or small, to any place with full-service rollback trucks and trailers with a Moffett forklift to set building packages conveniently close to your project. And just so you know, they offer contractors discounts as well. Visit KaufmanMetals.com or call 814-623-6044 or stop in at 6146 Lincoln Highway, Bedford, PA.
Did you know that most adults with autism are unemployed, and a major hurdle is the lack of job opportunities? That's why Autism Speaks is teaming up with Lee Container, the J. Donald and Laurel Lee Family Foundation Fund, and Delivering Jobs to create a more inclusive workforce in the U.S. Are you an HR professional, community leader, or business owner? Join us in creating a workforce where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. To learn more, visit autismspeaks.org/employment.
And now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that non-contact thermometers are not accurate. They also have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
As a veteran media sales professional, a six-figure six-figure income is within your reach. I'm Andrew Pawlowski, General Sales Manager of Word FM. Here at Salem Media Pittsburgh, we offer highly experienced sales and marketing professionals like you all the support and tools necessary to reach your earning potential through custom on-air campaigns, unique events, and over 50 social media and digital products. To learn more about our open position, please email me at andrew@salempittsburgh.com. Salem Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Okay, so throughout the entirety of the pandemic, very few people went to the theater, right? I mean, a lot of them were closed, but now the theaters open back up again. And I believe even with streaming, people want to be back in the theater. I mean, maybe the numbers don't support that, but I think a certain percentage of people do.
Mm-hmm, sure.
You not necessarily.
I think whatever it is that you loved to do before the pandemic, part of you wants to. Can we just do that again?
Yeah. Well, I mean, weirdly, whether people care about this or not, it's kind of like the Olympics. The Oscars will be back, right? And of course, there's people protesting and not caring and whatnot. But I like the whole thing. I like the idea of the award ceremonies. But anyway, long story short, more than anything, don't you love a good movie?
Yeah, of course.
Love a good movie.
And I love a good dress at the Academy Awards. You know how,
the two
how
go hand in
deeply
hand.
invested I am in that.
Alyssa Wilkinson is back with us. She's a film critic at Vox.com. She's been writing about film and culture since 2006. Her work has appeared at Rolling Stone, The Washington Post, RogerEbert.com, places too numerous to mention. She's also a member of the New York Film Critics Circle and an associate professor at the King's College in New York City. Here today to talk to us about the best pictures this year. Hey, Alyssa, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm good. It's great to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you with us.
Terrific. Okay, first question for you, Alyssa. Any surprises to you?
Yes, actually. I wasn't expecting, in particular, the movie Drive My Car to do quite as well as it did. It landed 4 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay. And this is a 3.5-hour Japanese film. So that's just not typically your profile of a Best Picture nominee. But it was really exciting. It's an incredible film. And it's good to know that, people are actually watching it. But it's also one of those movies that doesn't have like a big awards budget or a big studio behind it. It's just a little tiny distributor, and it's just sort of the little movie that could, or the long movie that could, maybe.
Yeah, so it's 3.5 hours long, Japanese. So you're reading subtitles, of course, and it's not necessarily streaming, is it?
It's not streaming yet, and it's really kind of only in limited theaters. Although I'm sure it's going to get expanded very quickly now that it has so many Oscar nominations. But it's hard to put a 3.5-hour movie in a theater, because then you can only make that one movie in the theater at a time. So I would totally recommend it to people. It's based on a Haruki Murakami story, kind of novella, and it's a really gripping story, kind of about love and loss and making art from life's tragedies and all of that good stuff. And it's kind of got a little bit of a thriller at its core, but it's certainly a slow burn.
Fabulous. Okay, 3.5 hours. So you in New York City, Alyssa, you're back in the theater, right? You're, as a film goer, critic, watcher, you're back in the theaters. The theaters are open up. Are the theaters crowded in New York?
It depends on what you're going to see. But yeah, I mean, people go back. People love movies here, and we have theaters that play old movies and new movies, and movies, that you can order a beer or some chicken fingers and watch it, or movies where, everyone's being completely silent and it's very quiet. So kind of whatever you're looking for, you can get. And so I'm in and out of theaters all the time, and lots of other people are. Of course, most of them are going to see Spider-Man still. But I think as the movie, as the Oscar season heats up, there'll be a lot more people going back to see the movies they haven't already seen.
Very good. Okay, so as always, we're up against the clock here, so a lot of films to talk about. But talk about, of all the listings of the Best Picture nominations, talk about, a couple that are your favorite that we should look out for.
Yeah, so one that I would love to encourage people to actually look for is Coda. So Coda is a really small independent film that premiered at Sundance a year ago in 2021. Coda stands for Children of Deaf Adults, and it's this little sweet family kind of comedy drama about a girl who's finishing up high school, and both of her parents and her brother are deaf, so she's the only hearing person in her family. And she's sort of just trying to figure out her way. She kind of wants to be in music, maybe go to music school, and she's just trying to figure her way. It's sort of a movie that you might have, it's a familiar template, I guess, but it's really heartwarming about this family, and it's streaming on Apple TV Plus, which is where shows like Ted Lasso have been. So if you watch that, you probably have access to Apple TV Plus. But it's worth the subscription price just to see it, and it's incredible that such a small film managed to get a Best Picture nomination. So that's definitely one I would look for. And another one that not enough people went to see, but that really is genuinely great, is West Side Story, the remake.
Yeah.
Not only is it West Side Story, but it actually manages to kind of improve upon the original, which is not something you can usually say for a remake.
Yep.
It's got a screenplay by Tony Kushner, who's probably the greatest living American playwright, incredible cast, directed by Steven Spielberg. You can kind of hardly ask for anything better than that. Currently, that one's only in theaters. It really is worth seeing in a theater, if only for the opening crane shot. But definitely one to look for. And then if you're also looking for just kind of a family movie, maybe not for little kids, but it's definitely a movie about a family, Belfast is well worth the watch as well. So it's sort of based on Kenneth Branagh's childhood memories of being in Belfast during the Troubles, and of his street of Catholics and Protestants who love one another and have been friends for a long time, trying to deal with this political strife that has been injected into his country. It's not my favorite of the Best Picture nominees, but it's definitely one that's a good time at the movies. It's in black and white. It has a great cast, and it's a really heartwarming film in a lot of ways.
Fabulous. From Vox.com, we're talking to Alyssa Wilkinson. She's a film critic there. Hey, talk to us, in some ways about another heartwarming film, which is Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, so Licorice Pizza is definitely a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, which means it's quirky and, it's sort of full of strange stories about strange people, but it stars Cooper Hoffman, who's the son of the late great actor Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Alana Haim from the band Haim. And they kind of play two people young people who sort of find themselves and develop this really odd little friendship over the course of a summer. He's selling water beds. They're kind of trying to find their way in the world. And it's a little bit of a movie about really a young woman who feels like she just doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. But it's also a great capture of life in the 1970s in the San Fernando Valley. It's very funny. It's very antic. It has a great sequence with Bradley Cooper. I really enjoyed it.
Fabulous. Okay, a film that I saw that I was like, what the heck was that hot mess, which was streaming, was Don't Look Up. Please talk to us about that.
Well, it's very much an Adam McKay movie. I think, it has a good idea at its core, which is what if we were going to make a satirical film about people who, rather than try to confront social problems, just kind of want to ignore them or pretend they're not happening. But I do feel like, the movie is very much one of those movies that you watch and you feel flattered by it. Like, oh, I'm one of the smart ones. It's all those people out there.
Right.
And I just can't, I can't really endorse that. But I will say it's a very funny movie in places, which makes it an easy fit, perhaps. And I wouldn't be surprised if it won Best Picture. It's that kind of a movie.
Interesting. Okay, so speaking of being back in the theaters again and not streaming, like I saw West Side Story in the theaters, of course, loved it. Happy to be back in the theaters. Dune, which is a wonderful film, back in the theaters. That's necessarily something you want to see on the big screen as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think Dune is tremendous. I spent all of last summer reading the book, and I didn't like it very much. And then I went to see the movie and thought, oh, okay, this is great. But visually, it's astounding. It's set on this desert planet, and the way it looks is really key to the story it's telling. And the story is really about how do popular leaders get made? And if you watch it, you should be aware that it's only the first half of the novel. The second half is coming. But great Timothée Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, Zendaya, the whole gang is in that movie.
Very nice. And it's like you. I mean, I did not read the book. I mean, my wife knows the book well, but it didn't bother me that I didn't know the book. The film didn't make a difference, whether you read the book or not.
Yeah, I was really glad to hear people say that. I read it so that I would know what was going on, and I left and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I would have known what was going on." So a lot of people have told me that very thing, and I'm really glad to hear that.
Very good.
Yeah.
What about Nightmare Alley? I saw it the other night, and I loved it as well.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro. Of course, people might remember that his last film, The Shape of Water, won Best Picture a few years ago. So del Toro is very good at making kind of odd, sort of gothic horror films, and I don't know if this is horror or if it's noir or what exactly it is, but it's a story about kind of a carnival guy, Bradley Cooper, who gets caught up in something he's not expecting. And honestly, my favorite thing about the movie is Richard Jenkins' performance in it in a small part. It's heartbreaking and really tremendous, and it looks great. It's a beautiful looking movie.
Fabulous. Alyssa, you come join us and talk about Best Picture nominations for the Oscars. And I don't know if this is just me, you've noticed this as well, but over the course of the pandemic, everyone's streaming. Has there been a delineation of, you've seen this, of those people who like movies and those people who like, episodic television?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Sometimes it's hard to tell what is a movie and what is episodic anymore. You can really make the argument that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is episodic storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's on a big screen or a small one. But I think movies and TV can do different things really well. Movies tell a single story really well and kind of bring you along the emotional journey. TV shows tend to do character development really well because you just have a lot of time with these characters. You get to know them, kind of get inside their heads and follow along with them. And both of them are really, really valuable, And then films tend to be really to emphasize their visual elements, whereas TV tends to emphasize its plot elements. And that makes for just two different art forms. And it's always admirable when people can switch between them and make equally good films and television shows. But I think it's always good for us to get a little outside our comfort zones. And, if you normally binge watch 4 hours of TV, why wouldn't you watch a 3.5-hour movie?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
that's a good question to ask. Alyssa, two questions for you to close that are related. One, I want to hear what is your favorite of the films that are nominated for Best Picture for the Academy Awards this year. And then I want to hear what is your favorite film of the year, even if it's not one of those that were nominated.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think for me it'd be a toss-up between Licorice Pizza and The Power of the Dog of the nominated films. The Power of the Dog, by the way, is on Netflix, and actually the title is a quote from the Bible, which is I had forgotten until I got to the end of the movie. So that's for me. I like that kind of a movie that keeps me guessing and kind of encourages me to lean in and really pay attention. And a great Benedict Cumberbatch performance in Power of the Dog. But of the year, I put as my number one film Bergman Island, which is actually streaming on Hulu. It's a movie by the French director Mia Hansen-Løve, but it's mostly in English. And it's kind of just about a couple who are both film directors who are on an island where Ingmar Bergman, the filmmaker, lived. And she, in particular, is trying to kind of figure out how her life and her art intersect. I just saw it 3 times. I really, really loved it, and I think it's a great film.
Fabulous.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I mean, all things, have been said, it's good to be back in the theaters. Are you wearing a mask in the theater, or are people like, I'm just going to forego that? How's that work?
Well, in New York, until today, we had a mask mandate. That's been lifted today, but most movie theaters ask you to wear one if you're not eating or drinking. And, most people comply. There are a lot of elderly people in New York who love to go to the movies, and so, people want to protect their neighbors or whatever. But certainly if you're eating or drinking, you take a moment, you take your popcorn, and then you
no biggie.
Back down. And, that way everyone can go and enjoy it without being worried about their health, and that's really nice for everyone, I think.
I said there wasn't going to be one more question, but now there is, but I'm going to make it really short. Okay, since you're a film critic, are you over popcorn, or does it still mean something to you?
No, actually, I can tell you where the best popcorn in every borough in New York City is, which theater to get it at.
Nice. Okay, so still invested.
But watching your figure,
Oh, yeah.
with or without butter?
I have a lactose issue, so I'm very appreciative of actually the Film Forum popcorn in Manhattan is popped in peanut oil, and it's delicious.
Fabulous. Who knew?
It's all coming together.
Alyssa, always a pleasure. Thanks an awful lot. We admire your work, the excellence of your reporting, and of course, you're a big presence on Twitter. It's all very well done. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure. Alyssa Wilkinson, she's a film critic at Vox.com, and as I said, follow her on Twitter. It's a great follow. Take a quick break, come back. We're going to turn the page on the 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Wordle, though, next.
Oh, Wordle and a hostage crisis.
I guess.
Okay.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085. 800-555-2085.
Why doing it right? Roofing, siding, remodeling? It's simple. It's in their name.
Doing It Right uses only top quality materials and employs only experienced installation and management people to install and oversee your project.
Family owned and operated for 38 years, and with over 45 years of industry experience, you can be confident that your project will be installed the correct way.
Doing It Right does business honestly, taking no money down and collecting balance upon completion.
You'll receive a lifetime labor warranty from Doing It Right.
Doing It Right does all work to manufacturers, National Roofing Contractors Association, and Vinyl Siding Institute guidelines and specifications for a complete and headache-free installation.
Doing It Right is an Owens Corning Platinum contractor and James Hardy preferred contractor.
Most importantly, they're affordable, offering great financing options and accepting all major credit cards.
Be sure to mention John and Kathy for a discount off your roofing, siding, and remodeling estimates.
Call 724-NEW-ROOF or find them at roofingcontractorpittsburgh.com.
Want it done right, call Doing It Right. Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And Doug. Don't you just love the smell of old books? Shh, this is a library. Sorry, ma'am. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your Car Insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I don't think we carry that, but check nonfiction.
He really does devour literature.
Please leave.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Trip to Europe. Visit all 30 Major League Baseball stadiums. Go skydiving. Okay, so you know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune into Your Retirement Blueprint with Kurt Kanodik and Ethan Lane of Accurate Solutions Group, Saturdays at 10 a.m. to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen every Saturday morning at 10 to Your Retirement Blueprint with Accurate Solutions Group. Investment advisory services offered through ASG Investment Management, LLC.
This is a story in today's newspaper about an 80-year-old woman who was fascinated by the game Wordle.
Which is easy to understand because it's fascinating.
Right. Now, in this story, which I cannot read to you, because what this 80-year-old woman endured is heinous. I mean...
And before we even go to that point, for people who don't play Wordle, let me just say that one of the things that people do is when you complete the word game for the day, you send your results to someone.
Right.
Some people post them on Twitter or Facebook, or I send them to my daughter. My daughter sends them to me. I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's common to send to share your score back and forth on a daily basis.
So there's an 80-year-old woman. She's alone in her house, and an intruder breaks into her house and holds her hostage for 21 hours. and what happened to her. Now, she was not abused, not molested, but she was injured, and the guy was clearly having mental problems. And this 80-year-old woman endured 21 hours of just, as I said, heinous activity in her own home. But within the course of those 21 hours, this woman's daughter, her older daughter who lives in California, was annoyed that her mother had not texted her score from that day's Wordle, a daily puzzle. Now, the other daughter lived in Portland, Oregon, so there they were bi-coastal, and again, not talking to each other. So the two sisters got together and they were like, hey, have you heard from Mom? I didn't see her Wordle, posting. What's going on? So the daughters picked up their cell phone. They didn't leave a message because the inbox was full, which was odd. But then they messaged the landline, or they tried the landline, but then they had the next door neighbor's phone, so they called the next door neighbor. The next door neighbor was able somehow to go in and see what was happening. And I'm telling you, I mean, the entirety of this story is so off the charts. Anyway, after 21 hours, this 80-year-old woman was rescued from the despair that she found herself in because she had not posted her Wordle for the day, and her daughters, who lived thousands of miles away, were worried about their mom, and she was freed from this prison that she found herself in.
So first off, thanks to all the people that rescued her, and the second thing, post your Wordle.
Holy smokes, save your life apparently.
Listen on your smart speaker at wordfm.com, the Word FM app, iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. In your car or at home, too, at 101.5 WORD FM, Pittsburgh.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Day 4 of the truck blockade at the Key Bridge connecting Detroit to Windsor, Ontario. We're beginning to hear from some frustrated automakers.
The Freedom Truck Convoy, as it's called, is a protest of Canada's COVID restrictions. It's blocking the routine flow of traffic at the busiest U.S.-Canada border crossing, the Ambassador Bridge between Detroit and Windsor, Ontario. Ford, Toyota, and GM have shut down plants or otherwise limited production because they can't get the parts they say they need. Ford says this hurts customers, auto workers, suppliers, communities, and companies on both sides of the border. Windsor, Canada's mayor says they haven't removed the protesters because they don't want to inflame things, but he said they won't let the protest go on indefinitely. I'm Rita Foley.
The Dow is off 485 points, the Nasdaq down 238. This is SRN News.
So I invested in one of those fancy new exercise bikes. Without a doubt, a very special tool to help me get healthier. The problem is 3 days go by, then 4, and I've done nothing. And then it's night 5, and I'm sitting at the kitchen table, and I look down at myself, and I can't help but just laugh. Because there I am, wearing the exercise t-shirt that came with the bike, and I'm eating 2 corn dogs. And I think we'd all agree, the special tool only matters if we use it to our benefit. At United Faith Mortgage, we believe we have an advantageous tool for you. Our mortgage team is an arm of a bigger company who is a direct lender, which means our company gets to use its own money and make its own decisions. There's no middleman, and often this allows us to get you a better rate on your refinance or new home purchase, which can save you monthly and lifelong money. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Meadow Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
What if I told you could save a baby's life for just $28? Well, it's true. Preborn is a ministry doing just that with the help of people just like you by offering free ultrasound sessions to pregnant women and girls who might otherwise choose to end their pregnancy. We know that pregnant girls and women who can see their babies on ultrasound are far more likely to choose life. Your gift today can save babies' lives. Just $28 can give a mother who is abortion-minded the chance to see the truth of the baby that is growing inside her. $140 can do this for 5 girls and women. And a $15,000 gift will provide an ultrasound machine that will save lives for years to come. Whether you want to save one baby or 5 or hundreds, that opportunity is just a phone call or click away. Call 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229. Or give online, preborn.org/radio.
McQueen Building Company. It's about our people, but it's what others say about us that we really want you to hear.
It was a pleasure working with McQueen. Everything we agreed on in the contract was done and done to my satisfaction. I'll certainly have them for any future projects and have recommended them to friends.
Jeff works hard, is committed to success, and willing to go above and beyond in his zeal for the best outcome. I highly recommend Jeff, his work ethic, and his commitment to excellence.
McQueen Building Company. See our work for yourself at McQueenBuildingCompany.com.
As a veteran media sales professional, a six-figure income is within your reach. I'm Andrew Pawlowski, General Sales Manager of Word FM. Here at Salem Media Pittsburgh, we offer highly experienced sales and marketing professionals like you all the support and tools necessary to reach your earning potential through custom on-air campaigns, unique events, and over 50 social media and digital products. To learn more about our open position, please email me at andrew@salempittsburgh.com. Salem Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Tonight we'll see mostly cloudy skies. Expect a nighttime low of 28. Some sunshine expected for tomorrow. Then increasing clouds. It will be breezy with a passing shower or two in the afternoon. We'll reach a high tomorrow of 50. Saturday will start off the weekend with cloudy skies. It'll be breezy with a bit of snow. Little to no accumulation is expected, however. We'll reach a high Saturday of 34. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmons.
Hey, greetings. Thanks for coming along today. Is it sunny out? It's still sunny out there. Beautiful.
Well,
right?
The Ride Home streaming live on YouTube at The Word Pittsburgh. You can watch it, but we're in a little...
We're in a black box.
We're in a little... Yeah.
Black box.
So I don't know if it's sunny.
Anyway, I wonder, in your life, have you ever lost your keys? Oh, you're laughing.
Yeah.
You've lost your keys.
One time I lost my keys for 2 years.
What?
I lost a set of keys for 2 years and then found them.
Oh.
In the craziest place.
Where?
Behind, we had like a pot rack that we had in our old kitchen, like a pegboard. And we would hang our pots on a pegboard. Julia Child did that.
Yeah.
I was inspired. And I apparently put my keys on the pegboard, and they fell behind the pegboard, between the pegboard and the wall.
Ugh.
And they were there for 2 years.
So they were like buried behind it.
And of course I looked everywhere, never thinking to look that they would have fallen behind there.
How did you ever find them?
We took the pegboard down to replace it. And there were my keys.
The keys. Oh, and at that time, did you have to change? So your car keys,
I had a different car. We had a different front door. Everything.
My goodness gracious. Okay, well, there's a piece we saw today about losing your keys doesn't mean that you're losing your mind. Here's how to find your stuff is the headline, and it details the story of a person who is suffering some sort of age-related cognitive decline.
Okay.
And so in the article, saying I have to write down where I've placed things.
Okay.
Like my jewelry, the important things in my life that I don't forget. Which, you reach a certain point in your life, people kind of, Anyway, there are apparently exercises and tips to help you suffer through something like what you endured.
Okay.
Right? Now, I wonder about the idea of writing things down. I mean, would you
write down where you put your keys?
No.
I mean, I guess if you had to, if you really couldn't remember where you put your keys, you could write it down.
Right. Now, whenever I go home, we have like a little key bowl.
Yeah, we call it the key bin.
Okay. I don't call it anything, but it's in our kitchen, so there's like a little bowl, and that's where the keys go.
Right.
And so there's like a bunch of keys, and then there's like your main set, my wife's main set, and then there's always like sort of the
backup keys. They're a little shady.
Or the miscellaneous.
You wouldn't use them on a daily basis.
Right, the miscellaneous key. You kind of go, what is that all about? I don't know where these came from. So I'm always kind of leery about having to investigate.
Well,
those keys.
my husband's so leery about the key bin that he refuses to use it.
What?
Because
so he's not playing along?
No, because he says between myself and our two daughters, he says there's too much going on in the key bin.
Well, he's right about that.
There's too much there, and he needs something more straightforward.
Right. So what's he do? What's his solution?
He has his own special hook on his workbench where his keys go.
His own special
and if
hook.
ever you were to leave, if you would borrow his keys, and you would leave them in the key bin
Don't
as
do it.
do
not
do that.
Do some people question the strength of your marriage based upon that?
I don't. Well,
I mean,
the fact that I've acquiesced, I feel like we're in good shape.
Okay.
Plus, he's doing most of the dishes right now in the bathtub. So,
So there is that. Okay. So here's the tips. When you put something somewhere, say its location out loud.
I'm putting the keys on the pegboard.
Right. My glasses are on the credenza.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would help.
Yeah, so you're kind of like you're engaging your ears, your audio memory, and your visual memory.
Okay, here's the next tip, which I find ridiculous. Make up a song or a rhyme. I'm putting my keys on the credenza. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Here they go. I mean,
maybe that could stick in your head later.
Then you'd be like a crazy person. Here's their next tip. Take pictures. Take a picture of the keys on the credenza.
That's not a bad idea.
Oh, come on.
No, it's not a bad idea.
Come on.
No, it's not a bad. The only thing is that I would forget that I took the picture, and I'd come back to it later and be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I took that picture."
Or lose your phone.
Right.
Here's the next tip. Make your belongings stand out. So, like, if it's your keys, maybe you have like the special, different color keys.
That's what I do.
Oh, you have color keys?
I have all my keys are different pattern,
all
so
right.
I know what goes where.
Here's the obvious one. Invest in technology. So you get your Apple.
No, that's cheating.
No, it's not cheating.
Yeah, I think it is.
Why would that be cheating? It's a
You mean like the thing that
the
allows
tag. The app. What do they call them?
Air tags.
Air tags.
I have one of those on Milo.
So they're your
that
dog.
makes sense.
You never know.
Of course, you never do know.
Could you lose if Milo ran away? Could you find him?
Yeah.
Oh, see. Better than singing a song about Milo. Poor little Milo, he's lost somewhere. Hope he's not in the woods. Don't get run over,
but
Milo.
those Apple AirTags, but you can put them on anything? Is that the way they
Anything.
work?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have one that goes around his collar. It's like in a case.
And then on your phone, you can always see where it is?
Yep.
So it's like Find My iPhone?
Yep,
Right.
it's in there, and it's under devices, I think.
Yeah, I mean, haven't you heard about that?
Items.
Items.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. Look at
Milo.
him.
He's just sitting on the
Such a
couch.
good boy. I can tell he's a good boy just from looking at where he is.
I mean, the problem with those Apple AirTags, right, is people are saying they can be misused, right? People like, creeping, putting them on, your ex's car or something like that.
But you get a notification. So when I was away, my mom was watching Milo, and she said it kept dinging. And she got a notification that said, there's an AirTag near you.
Oh, okay, good.
So someone's looking out for Milo.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the next tip. Take a breath.
Well, that's why I lost my keys in the first place.
Why? Because you're
It's
in a
because
hurry.
I was in such a hurry, and I just, you do things mindlessly. And of course, I just came in and hooked my keys over the thing and was probably
just
talking or had groceries in my hand, didn't even
they fall.
hear them fall, and
Right.
that was it.
Take a breath. If you're in a situation where you've misplaced something, take a deep breath. Give your brain a minute or two. The majority of the time, it'll come back to you. Okay?
Okay.
Be kind to yourself.
Oh, here we go.
Isn't this the worst? Because, I remember one time we were going to see, we were all excited because my kid at the time was like 11, and we were invited backstage to meet the band Chicago. And I lost the keys. And we could not find the keys. And, of course, the clock was counting down.
Oh, it's horrible.
So we're like running around. I can turn in on myself dark.
Mhm.
I mean, I was hating myself
So deeply.
like times 10 to the third degree. I just years from now, just horrible.
Did you find them?
Yeah. But by that time, I had fouled the air, ruined the mood so deeply. The drive to see the band Chicago was ruined by Dad. Comes up with like a family story once in a while. It does. Well, it just happens.
It does happen, John, for crying out loud.
Anyway, so I guess, what the thrust of the article is, right? Be kind to yourself. And there are some, my takeaway is I'm going to sing a song with my keys. That's my takeaway.
If that's your takeaway, I feel like
It
perhaps
is.
no, don't sing a song with your keys, but I think maybe saying it out loud. I'm putting the keys in
No.
my bag.
I'm not going to do that either.
Just buy the Apple AirTag.
Hey, there
Tim
you
and
go.
Kathy Keller coming up next.
101.5 WORD.
Once I figured out, it was a little boy, then I heard his heartbeat, like I just cried. You guys helped me make my mind up.
You've heard that seeing is believing. That's certainly true when it comes to pregnancies. It's been shown that abortion-minded women who see their babies on an ultrasound are likely to have that baby. Today, you can provide a free ultrasound for a pregnant woman for just $28, the cost to save the life of a baby. So whether you want to save one or five or hundreds of babies, Word FM and Preborn are here to help. Call today, 833-850-BABY, or go to wordfm.com.
There are some decisions in life that just flat out determine whether the day will be good or bad. And one of those Mount Everest decisions for me is which ice cream to choose. How is a mere human able to walk into a tasty ice cream shop and choose from 7 perfect options? It's Ryan. And the reality is, deciding how to manage your mortgage is kind of similar. I had 2 radio listeners last month say, I've been wanting to know all the details of what a refinance or cash out refinance would look like for me, but I was embarrassed to ask and didn't want to feel pressured if I did. To which I say, we are a place that happily lets you taste test all the flavors. Guilt-free, no pressure, no judgment, and no follow-up unless you ask. It's very normal for us to provide what multiple refinance or cash-out options would exactly look like, and then let you decide, or even just walk out completely after the taste test. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Mortgage Corp, Melville, New York. MLS number 1330. Department of Banking. Mortgage lender license number 22672.
When it's time to replace your roof, siding, gutters, and downspouts, entry doors, and of course windows, you can count on Windows R Us, the area's premier exterior replacement company. This is John Steigerwald. With over 50 years experience in the home remodeling industry, Windows R Us offers repair and replacement for all your exterior home projects. Why pay double with some other companies? Windows R Us will always give you the best price on the best in-class products, backed by the best warranties in the industry, all with zero sales pressure. And speaking of zero, right now get zero interest financing for 12 months and no processing fee, with prices set to increase on all exterior products. Lock in your quote today. Schedule a free estimate at windowsruspittsburgh.com. Find them at the Pittsburgh Remodeling Expo at Heinz Field beginning February 11th. windowsruspittsburgh.com.
Windows R Us. You've tried the rest, now try the best.
Does your congregation need a spiritual boost? How about a half-day retreat on spiritual transformation? Lutheran Lay Renewal of America has led this retreat at churches from coast to coast and also for churches in Africa. This retreat draws on centuries of deep Christian spirituality, as well as some new spiritual insights, and is offered at no cost to any Christian church. For more information, call 724-287-5151 or visit LutheranRenewal.com.
Hanging out with the Kellers. Kathy and Tim Keller are with us, founders of Redeemer Church in Manhattan, where they were stewards for decades, also best-selling New York Times authors as well, but always happy to check in with Tim and Kathy Keller as they join us live from New York City. Hey, Kath. Hey, Tim. How you doing?
Howdy. Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
We are.
Very good. Good to hear
Already
your voice.
tired of winter.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I don't mind it that much.
Oh, listen, John. Oh, you guys, John is so, he's in love with winter this year. I don't know what's happened. I feel like I've lost an ally. Because one of the things about fighting a Pittsburgh winter is you want to feel like we're all on the same side against it.
Yeah, right.
But John's fallen in some way.
All right, so Kath, how was winter in New York City? I mean, is it difficult for you to, go about your daily life?
No, it's not. That's the thing. I mean, it used to be that between Christmas and spring, I would root for big snowstorms because I guess there's some memory in our past of having snow days when you say, "Oh, I don't have to do anything."
Yes.
But I've quit doing that because I know that there's a lot of people who are inconvenienced and even harmed by bad snow days. But there's part of me that still is excited whenever we get it's a big snow coming. And we haven't had anything like that. We've had, lots of warnings, but there's this rain-snow line that just keeps giving us the rain. So we've kind of had a lot of dreary, rainy, chilly days.
Yeah, I don't like that. Don't you feel like you were gypped or cheated somehow? Because
It's going to be cold and miserable. Let's have some snow.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Good. Boy, Tim, these two are so happy to have their snow.
No, it's good.
Okay.
I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania. We had palm trees over there.
Of course, because everything's perfect inside the Philadelphia city limits.
That's right. Yeah,
Get out of here.
I live near San Philadelphia.
The sunny side, the very tropical side of
All
Pennsylvania.
right. Okay. Enough of this weather talk. Okay. So about a week and a half ago, and Tim, we saw that you tweeted about this. There was a clip released from Stephen Colbert's late night show, and I've appreciated a lot of things about Stephen Colbert over the years. He's a very, very bright man. And as with every late night comedian, when it gets into politics, you end up making enemies. But this wasn't a political conversation. Dua Lipa was a guest on his program, but she turned the tables on him. And instead of him asking the questions, she asked him the questions. We have this clip. Let's hear it.
I was wondering, is there any, does your faith and your comedy ever overlap? And does one ever win out?
I think ultimately, us all being mortal, the faith will win out at the end. But I certainly hope when I get to heaven, Jesus has a sense of humor. But I will say this. Someone was asking me earlier about what this relates to faith, because my faith is involved with, I'm a Christian and a Catholic, and that's always connected to the idea of love and sacrifice being somehow related, and giving yourself to other people, and that death is not defeat, if you can see where I'm getting at there. Someone was asking me earlier, what movie did I really enjoy this year? And I said, well, I really like Belfast, which is Kenneth Branagh's story of his childhood. And one of the reasons I love it is that I'm Irish and Irish American, and it's such an Irish movie. And I think this is also a Catholic thing, because it's funny and it's sad, and it's funny about being sad. In the same way that sadness is like a little bit of an emotional death, but not a defeat if you can find a way to laugh about it. Because that laughter keeps you from having fear of it. And fear is the thing that keeps you from turning to evil devices to save you from the sadness. As Robert Hayden said, we must not be frightened or cajoled into accepting evil as our deliverance from evil. We must keep struggling to maintain our humanity, though monsters of abstraction threaten and police us. So if there's some relationship between my faith and my comedy, it's that no matter what happens, you are never defeated. You must understand and see this in the light of eternity and find some way to love and laugh with each other.
Stephen Colbert, everybody.
All right, Tim. So I saw that. I thought it was remarkable for several reasons. John did as well, but you posted it in particular, and I want to hear, what was your take on that?
Well, one thing, by the way, is it clearly wasn't rehearsed. In other words, he was speaking off the cuff. This wasn't a setup for him. Partly because he was rambling a little bit. I mean, I know I've been in these public places enough where I got questions, and if you don't immediately, have a almost a memorized answer, you have to talk a little bit. You're trying to
catch up.
You're actually filling in until you can kind of land the plane. But his basic idea was that, first of all, your faith always has to be part of your work. It should be connected. There shouldn't be a disconnect. Secondly, in his case, what he's simply saying is, I believe in loving people, self-sacrifice, and never fighting evil with evil, but overcoming evil with good, and always having a hope that death is not defeat, and therefore there's never really, in the end, evil will never win. And therefore, we can be happy and we can laugh, and even when things don't look good. Now, what I liked about it was, first of all, she was not asking him for a gospel presentation.
Right.
She clearly was interested in the fact that she liked his comedy, she liked his work, and was trying to figure out. I think her background, by the way, is Muslim, I think, but she wanted to find out, well, what is the relationship here? Because you see, in our culture, we're told you keep your religion out of your public life.
Right.
We're told to privatize it, to just seal it off, and the fact that he said, no, I don't. And that he had a very positive, I think, rightful way that your faith can, Christian faith can, have an influence on your work, was all very good. That doesn't mean I know anything really about how genuine his faith is, or whether he's completely consistent in every area of his life, or the state of his heart, or anything like that. But I think, as you know, if you watch Twitter, the fact that I thought this is actually a pretty good example of how you could speak to people in a winsome way that'll probably want them to tell you more about Christianity.
Right.
You don't tell them everything. You just tell them what they ask for, and you do it winsomely enough and intelligently enough that people then want to know more. But as you can tell, what happened on Twitter, because I said, hey, this is good, I got kind of blasted by people saying that wasn't a gospel presentation, and he wasn't telling her about you need Jesus and you have to believe in the cross and all that. But she wasn't asking for it, and not only that, I think it would have been frankly rude to do that under those circumstances. So you saw that. So that's what I think. I liked it too.
Yeah, I liked it an awful lot. What's interesting about it is that people see that. They see the truth, and you can feel the audience. They're kind of on eggshells at first. The energy in the room shifted several times, and at the very conclusion of it, it was almost like, a sort of sucking out of the air and then a rush forward of an exclamation point as people realized what was being presented, and they cheered. And essentially, they cheered for God.
Yeah. Yep. So but a lot of people didn't like that. I liked it.
Right.
Yeah, well, that begs a further question, which is, the segment of people who were blasting you on Twitter, would have been happier if maybe, he had used words like, justification and, penal atonement and, all sorts of things like that. But that's not the language that the question was asked in. And that's why I loved it. That's why I thought he's actually answering her the way he's answering her with the same whimsy and attitude and attention that she's asking the question.
That's exactly right. Because I think what a lot of people would say, some people said, well, he should have said, you need to repent and believe the gospel and Jesus died for your sins. He should have said that. And like you just said, she wasn't asking about that. She was asking about the relationship of his faith to his work. And for him to say that his faith actually affects his work all the time, all by itself is radical. It was countercultural.
Right.
But then it's also true that, frankly, that would have been, you're right, in vocabulary she wasn't using. It would have been using her question as an excuse to say what you want to say about Christianity rather than an actual answer. It would have been been manipulating her.
Yeah.
Can I butt in here for a sec?
Yeah, Kath, go.
I remember in college reading Francis Schaeffer for the first time, and he used a term called pre-evangelism, that there are things that you discuss with a non-believer that will give credibility when you get to the point of saying, would you like to receive Jesus? Would you like to have a relationship with him? But you don't, it's like cooking. You spoil the souffle if you take it out too soon. You have to let God use the timing that God wants to use. And if a person is at point A, you hope to get them to point B. You don't try to drag them all the way to the end of the alphabet. And therefore, pre-evangelism is just as important as evangelism. Just saying, you're going to die and go to hell unless you accept Jesus. That's true, but that's not easy to swallow if you haven't given somebody a chance to assimilate earlier truths, like, is your life really the way you want it to be? Why isn't it? What do you think that's the cause of that?
Right.
Getting them ready to ask the questions.
Right, little tiny baby steps moving forward. As I'm watching the clip, I'm thinking, can you imagine Johnny Carson being asked that question? What his response would have been?
It would have been a joke and laughter, and that would be the end of it.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
Well, that's what's interesting about it, right? And that's why another reason I love the conversation is because it was two people talking. It wasn't just
that we were eavesdropping.
Right. It wasn't that I'm regurgitating something that I've already planned, or I'm giving you a recitation of all of the the 5 spiritual laws. It's not that. It's that I'm a whole person and you're a whole person. And so if you're asking a question that I'm trying to engage myself in honoring you with an answer. I just feel like we're missing each other in society today by just thinking that I have to convert you to my political party or my point of view or
immediately.
Immediately, instead of just honoring you as a person and having a thing.
To put what Kathy
There was
said
an evangelism program around Redeemer for a couple of years ago, and I think it might still be in use. Of course, we're not in charge of the Redeemer churches anymore, in spite of what some people think. People were meeting together weekly, and then they had assignments, and their assignments were just to go out to their non-Christian friends and relatives and ask questions, not give answers, ask questions, and then listen to them. Like, what is it that disturbs you the most about when you think about committing yourself to Jesus? Or, you know, what about the church is most off-putting to you? And just listen to them. And it was wildly successful because people not only wanted to tell them the answer to the question, but then they wanted to say, well, you know, gee, you're the first person who ever actually asked me that. You know, can we talk some more? And it was amazing that when you started with asking them the questions rather than telling them the answers, how much further you got.
That's good, yeah. And Tim, what were you going to add there?
Oh, only that, to put what Kathy said in a slightly different way, but the same thing. Most people actually become Christians. I mean, I'm saying that certainly at a certain moment, you are a Christian or you're not. I don't mean you become Christian in stages. But in another sense, you get to the decision to become a Christian in stages. Mm-hmm. And therefore, like the first stage might be you're sitting there thinking, gee, all Christians aren't idiots. That might be the first decision that you in your mind. And the second one might be, I guess there are some reasons to believe in Christianity. Maybe the third one might be, well, I had never thought that Christianity could affect your comedy like that. That's really interesting. So what I'm saying is in their heads, there are these small steps they take toward the decision. And there are a lot of folks that don't feel like you should be letting that happen. Now, Kathy called that pre-evangelism, and I think that's right.
That's good. Hey, guys, we need to take a quick break. Can you just stick around for a few more minutes?
Oh, sure.
Oh, fabulous. Thanks. We're talking with Tim and Kathy Keller from New York City. We'll step away for just a few minutes and come back and continue on with this conversation. We're Pittsburgh's Christian Talk. This is Word FM.
Trip to Europe. Visit all 30 Major League Baseball stadiums. Go skydiving. Okay, so you know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune in to Your Retirement Blueprint with Kurt Knodik and Ethan Lane of Accurate Solutions Group, Saturdays at 10 a.m. to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen every Saturday morning at 10 to Your Retirement Blueprint with Accurate Solutions Group. Investment advisory services offered through ASG Investment Management, LLC.
This is Kathy Emmons. John and I are grateful for the encouragement we have from all of our advertisers, and especially our friends at Grove City College. Thanks to everyone at Grove City for supporting the ride home.
I find that patients just want to be heard.
Stock Family Dentistry, where exceptional dentistry meets compassionate care.
That takes time to sit down and listen to what the patient has to say. Listen to their past experiences, because that's all important in how I then present treatment to them, formulate a treatment plan for them, and how we move forward with their treatment at our office.
My mommy is a really good dentist, and she'll take good care of you.
Harry Highway in Wexford at StockFamilyDentistry.com.
Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He created the Giza Dream Bed Sheets. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for you. Hey, this is John Hall. Mike found the world's best cotton called Giza, and his latest incredible deal is the sale of the year. For a limited time, you'll receive 60% off the Giza Dream Sheets that come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. You'll receive a set for as low as $39.99, and for a limited time with any purchase, you'll receive Mike's softcover book free when you use promo code WORD. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square, and use promo code WORD. Along with this offer, you'll also get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the MyPillow mattress topper, MyPillow towel sets, and so much more. Call 1-800-391-0954. Use the promo code WORD, or visit MyPillow.com. Use the promo code WORD.
The uh-ohs are out there. Scratches, dents, unexpected natural events. But with Maaco and their magic, your car is no longer tragic. So when life throws you uh-ohs, just say,
Better get Mako.
and go to Mako.com to book your appointment today.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the whoops. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Ask Alexa to play the word Pittsburgh to hear us there. We're on your Google speaker too, plus iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. 101.5 WORD FM, Pittsburgh.
Tonight we'll see mostly cloudy skies. Expect a nighttime low of 28. Some sunshine expected for tomorrow. Then increasing clouds. It will be breezy with a passing shower or two in the afternoon. We'll reach a high tomorrow of 50. Saturday will start off the weekend with cloudy skies. It'll be breezy with a bit of snow. Little to no accumulation is expected, however. We'll reach a high Saturday of 34. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
We're checking in with Kathy and Tim Keller, founders of Redeemer Presbyterian Church in New York City, New York Times bestselling authors as well. Kathy, she is a pedigree, a Yinzer, dyed in the wool. Tim, unfortunately, raised in the Philadelphia area of the state of Pennsylvania, but we welcome them both on the air, as we always do. Yeah.
All right, you guys. So I want to pick up where we left off. We were talking about the Stephen Colbert interview, just a little clip of an interview he did with Dua Lipa, where she kind of turned the tables and asked him about his faith. And I think I want to talk, Tim, about the response you got when you posted that to Twitter. So you mentioned earlier in our last segment that people got really riled up. They felt like, Stephen Colbert hadn't answered it appropriately, hadn't, laid out how then we can be saved. But I guess I'm asking about the response. You are a lightning rod in a lot of ways on social media. And so I guess I want to know how you feel about that. So when you get that type of avalanche back at you, how does that sit with you?
Well, first of all, it does help to be old, and I'm not. It doesn't feel as real. I noticed that my children, younger people, 40, especially if they're in their 40s or 30s or 20s, it does seem to really rile. It rattles them more when they get pushback on social media. And so I've talked to plenty of people who've just gotten off of it because they just couldn't take the criticism. And I think there's something Kathy and I often say. It almost seems like, well, this isn't real. I don't know what this is. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
I mean, this is partly my. We are older people, and therefore embodied relationships, or even phone calls, or seeing people. Those seem to be real relationships. Otherwise, I don't think I have a relationship. In fact, I don't even know whether you're not a robot. I don't know who you are. I don't know. I mean, so how can I be upset when you might be a bot of some kind? It doesn't mean. I mean, there are definitely some pretty mean things. Where people know I've got cancer, and they'll actually say, "I hope you die of this cancer because you're bad." I mean, that sort of thing. You look at it and you say, "Gee, okay." I mean, that can take your breath away. But by and large, no, it doesn't bother. I wonder what it says, though, about the church today. And it does feel to me that we are, we've said this before, Kathy and I both feel like that we ought to be united by our faith across political differences, but we are not anymore. Mm-hmm. There was a time in which, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, whether you're, Pittsburgh, Kathy's dad worked for Westinghouse as in management, and Kathy's Uncle Bart, remember, right, Kathy?
Yeah.
He was a union guy, U.S. Steel, right? Or no?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were, and they would they get at each other. They come over together and drink their beers together and get at each other a little bit on politics. But they weren't Christians. But I'm saying it wasn't as divisive. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't. And now it is. And Christians should be the people who don't get sucked into the anger and and talking about the other side as being not just mistaken but evil.
Right.
But we are, and that's what it tells you, and that's sad.
Yeah, and so, Kath, what about you? As Tim's wife, you absorb these blows as well. Do you want to lash out?
No, not at all. The only time I go to social media is to correct some error of fact that somebody has inadvertently absorbed, and I'll be happy to correct a factual error. But as far as the emotion, I think the internet attracts people who want to be outraged, and Tim catches it both from the right and from the left, and they both think he's, a traitor to the other side, and I had a dear honorary grandmother, you know what that is, an extra grandmother, a friend of the family, who in her later years fell into what we now know as Alzheimer's, etc. And my mom used to come home from visiting her and say, oh, she said she had lunch with, her husband who's been dead for 50 years. Oh, and I'd say, Mom, maybe he's in a nursing home. You don't go there expecting...
She's lost her mind, so don't get upset. That's what she does.
And so Tim and I actually have a little saying that, when people are acting completely off the wall, like maybe it's in the nursing home, you can't hope for a reasoned, gentle, persuasive interaction on social media. It's not built for that. It's built to attract and inflame outrage, and therefore if you go there expecting to have something else besides that, you're going to be disappointed.
That's a good point.
It's social media. Social media is in the nursing home.
Yeah.
And
well, we're gonna have T-shirts made.
Yeah.
Social media. Okay, so maybe the deeper concern then for all of us is why we have become unable to see people who believe in the same Jesus we believe in as our brothers and sisters first.
It happens everywhere.
Instead of seeing people in our own political party as our brothers and sisters first, and then somehow the people who believe in Jesus as enemy. And I guess it's simplistic to say, how do we get back to that? Or how do we move forward into that?
Or can we?
I guess is probably the best question.
What do you think, Tim?
Well, do the math. I just want to, I'll do this real short because Tim has a better answer, but do the math. You're in church for 1 week, an hour, or 1 hour a week, and maybe you have a small group for another couple hours a week. And how many times are you watching, the news or the reading, doing the podcasts, or on social media, listening to the echo chamber that just tells you what you already believe? We are not forming ourselves. We are not being formed. We are not forming the people in our churches with the gospel and with the Bible the way they're being formed by all these other influences that have far more time to affect them.
But at the same time, doesn't it break your heart? Because I think everybody's lost friendships, or friendships have been altered because of this. People that you knew
Families
and you
have
thought
been
that you
Churches
you
have
loved,
changed.
everything's changed. People that it's just topsy-turvy.
Oh, absolutely.
By the way, one problem is, though, and it might get better, is that when we do finally, I think we will have to get past COVID. I mean, I was just talking just before you called. I was talking with one of the pastors of one of our churches here, and he said there are just lots and lots of people in his church that are in his church, but that he's probably only actually seen face-to-face 2 or 3 times in the last 2 years.
Wow.
And what that means is we're not being formed by our churches or our communities anymore. We are being formed online. We're being formed by what we were watching. And I think that it's possible that has definitely hurt the polarization. It does create the polarization to some degree. I'm hoping that might ameliorate. It might, I don't know, lessen. I'm hoping. But ultimately, I think every church has got idols that we can fall into, political idols or material idols, or and we may just need to repent. Just need to repent.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
I'll take that too. All right, so our time's winding down. Tim, we want to hear about your health. How are you doing?
Oh, if those of you who want to pray, and I know that we're getting lots of prayers, is I have a scan coming up February 28th.
Okay.
And so that scan's every 3 or so months, and everybody who's got cancer knows you kind of live from scan to scan. At the end of the scan, you have an idea, okay, here's where we are, and this is what we're going to be doing for the next 3 months. And then your whole life can change with a new scan. So so it's not easy. It's not easy to come up to it for either of us. You spend a lot of time in prayer, so pray for it. That's it. Yeah. I'm doing fine right now, but the scan will tell me.
Yeah, he's as healthy as ever, and he's Tim, you should tell everybody. One of the things that has been informing, I hope I can say this fast enough so I don't run out of time.
No,
one of the things
you're
that's
good.
been very, very helpful, and Tim, you could say more about this than I did, is he's been interacting with our global church planting partners in India and Africa and Europe and Asia for hours every week, really, writing a series of papers talking about, what do we believe about this, what do we believe about that, getting their feedback, what is the issues in their own culture, what is the pressures of them. So seeing the health of the global church, they have their own problems. They have problems with the church that's in India, the church that's in China, et cetera, et cetera. But they're not the problems that we have, and that's actually an encouragement to say we tend to get fixated on what's going on in North America with the political divide there. Globally, Christ's body is facing other things in other parts of the world, but the whole church, the church as a whole, is not decrepit. It's not dying. It's not going away. It's struggling, but we need to help each other. Tim, do you want to say more about that, the global partners?
Well, what Kathy means is that I don't work for the church anymore. I work for the church planting network that my church started. And even though I don't travel, I actually, because of the Zoom world that came up, I actually spend every month. I actually spend 4 2-hour meetings with about 80 leaders around the world. And they're generally younger church planters and church leaders in the great global cities on every continent. And it's very, it's a lot more hopeful. In other words, when you're stuck in one country, you can't help.
Yeah.
The whole church seems to be the church that I know right here. But honestly, people who believe the gospel, believe in the atoning work of Jesus, the necessity of the new birth, they're all over the world, hundreds of millions of them. And they have their own problems in there. So if you're an Indian Christian, you have your own problems, and if you're a Nigerian Christian, you have your own problems in their culture. But what's great is you see the commonalities. And it's really good to have friendships across those barriers, it's pretty rare. Most of us don't have that. It's a great privilege that I can. Even Kathy doesn't get to do all that, and it just lifts me up. It makes me hopeful. Yeah, it makes me much more hopeful. That's what Kathy's trying to say.
Right.
Have hope. It's out there. The gospel. The gospel, nothing's really stopping the gospel. It's continuing to move forward.
That's good. So within the slice of that, you see a little bit of heaven, hopefully.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
All right, before you leave us, Kat, did you hear about the Squirrel Hill Bridge that collapsed?
I did. Saw the pictures and everything, and I have been over that bridge a million times.
What the heck?
You guys, it was so crazy.
Going down to see Mamie, in fact. From Monroeville down to where she was. Took that bridge a lot of time.
Yep, so there you go.
How about that? Okay, well,
listen,
good to talk
Pittsburgh
to you
sends
too.
our regards to both of you guys. We love you and praying for you both, and stay strong, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Our pleasure.
Love you both, Tim and Kathy Keller. Always happy to visit with the Kellers,
Heck
right?
yeah,
Don't you
man.
love them?
I mean, I love that perspective of Tim being in that driver's seat in some way.
Just
there
get
he is.
out of where you are.
Yeah.
And just think about the bigger
It's
picture.
a big global church, and everyone's got their own problems, but we're all focused on Jesus in heaven.
101.5 WORD.
With a special Valentine's weekend treat for you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It's time to feel the love by sending a dedication or request to your sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm feeling the love.
Call us now at 1-877-349-1015 and dedicate a song to your honey.
To my husband of 10 years now, to my husband of 13 years. Honey, it's been a great 10 years, and I know it'll be a even greater 10 more years.
Then listen for your song and dedication throughout the weekend.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Call 877 877-349-1015.
Cash Call Mortgage is a DBA of Impact Mortgage Corp. NMLS ID 128231. Not all applicants will qualify. Equal housing lender. Licensed by California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. Residential Mortgage Lending Act license number 4131083. Not licensed in all states, including New York. Call 855-657-9910 for licensing terms and restrictions. Or visit cashcallmortgage.com.
Are you being denied a home loan or refi because you're a 1099 employee, self-employed, or a real estate investor? It can be frustrating, but it doesn't have to be, thanks to Cash Call Mortgage. At Cash Call Mortgage, we'll take the time to understand you and your income flow. Using 1099 income, rental income, and bank statements, you could qualify for a home mortgage or refi at a lower rate. So if you're being turned down for a home loan or refi because you're self-employed, a 1099 earner, or a real estate investor, instead of hearing denied, you could be hearing approved. To see if you qualify, visit cashcallmortgage.com or call now 800-931-6651. That's 800-931-6651. 800-931-6651.
Hi, this is Joe Belanti with J&D Waterproofing at 1-800-VERY-DRY. In honor of our 81 years serving the tri-state area, we are offering great savings for all our new and past customers. Call 1-800-VERY-DRY. That's 1-800-VERY-DRY to get your savings on basement waterproofing, bowing or cracking walls, and or footer stabilization projects. Or visit us at jdwaterproofing.com. J&D Waterproofing, family owned and operated since 1939.
To serve as a ruling elder is a high and holy office. RPTS now offers 5 flexible online courses to help you shepherd the Church of God. The Ruling Elders program features courses on biblical counseling, interpretation, worship, the church, care and administration, plus preaching and elective options that best fit your ministry paradigm. No papers, no exams, just solid biblical teaching from experienced pastor professors. Individual and group rates available. RPTS, study under pastors. Learn more at rpts.edu.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
The graphics are so real on this video game console I bought with the savings from switching to Progressive 10 years ago. I can't tell what's real and what's the game, which I think is what people want, in the future, which it is currently.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Does this make sense?
Does what make sense?
The Slurpee. The slushy. However you want to say it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I would call it, as a general sort of generic term, the frozen Coke.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a kid whenever they were first introduced, and it was like manna from heaven. Seriously, it was what is this incredible thing?
Mm-hmm.
The only problem with me, now this might be an age thing, is I get a headache.
Oh,
the cold headache comes
that's
upon
sad.
quick, and so I can't enjoy it nearly.
Yeah.
I have to do it very, very slow.
Huh.
But the frozen Coke, the slushy thing, I love it so much. Does it make sense to you?
I'm going to give you 2 answers, John.
Oh.
Because if it comes to a frozen Coke,
yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's Coke mixed with ice, which is one of the best things on the planet.
Right.
What about the 18 fluorescent colors that you find in sheets?
No, it's okay.
That's my concern.
How about a frozen Mountain Dew?
And I feel as if that, the Mountain Dew in the electric green.
I like it.
Like safety first color. I don't think that makes sense.
Why?
I'm not sure you could come up with something that's more artificial than that.
It's a soda. Well, you're having a soda for health reasons? I don't think so. Okay. Just enjoy it.
I think the originals make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I think we've crossed over to a new era, and I'm going to come out and say all that bright orange, pink, green, blue doesn't make sense.
Well, this is America after all. So we got to take something and then make it like 5,000 more varieties. So it makes sense to me. Okay, along the same food lines, now we did not know we were talking about this. Does this make sense? Store-bought popcorn.
Pre-popped.
Pre-popped in a bag, like a bag of chips. I mean...
How lazy are you?
No, I mean, when you see like the white cheddar.
Oh, that's Smart Food in the black bag? That's delicious.
Well, Trader Joe's has white cheddar, which is fat. So again, 2 answers. When I see like diet popcorn, I think, really? diet popcorn, or when you just make it your own. Make your own popcorn in a traditional, pot with 3 kernels in the hot oil, fresh little dash of salt or some butter. You can't beat that. As opposed to just a bag you open up and like you're having a bag of chips. So the store-bought popcorn kind of doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
But when you have the white cheddar flavored version,
yeah.
it does make sense. So it's kind of like the Slurpee slushy thing. I think it's yes, no, it does, and it doesn't.
This is like the only time we've ever had sort of like
I don't think we've ever been in this place
draw
before.
of yes, no makes sense. Slurpees, yes.
And no.
Store-bought popcorn? No.
And yes.
If you're in the market for metal roofing, siding, and garage doors, Kaufman Metals in Bedford can meet your expectations with friendly professional service. Their equipment is right up to date with the newest technology and ready to produce your standard and customized metal panels and trims to your exact specifications for any project with the fastest turnaround in the industry. Plus, Kaufman Metals offers complete do-it-yourself building packages included with computer-generated drawings. Kaufman Metals also provide sales and service for CHI residential and commercial garage doors. They deliver any order, large or small, to any place with full-service rollback trucks and trailers with a Moffett forklift to set building packages conveniently close to your project. And just so you know, they offer contractors discounts as well. Visit KaufmanMetals.com or call 814-623-6044 or stop in at 6146 Lincoln Highway, Bedford, PA.
My son is in the 2nd grade at our local public school, and yet somehow he gets to attend a Bible class during his school day because of LifeWise Academy.
We're seeing public school students from urban, rural, and suburban communities who have never heard the basic stories of how Jesus came to rescue us.
Hey Word FM listeners, I'm Joel Penton, founder of LifeWise Academy, and we bring Bible education to public school students during the school day. Believe it or not, in 1952, the Supreme Court ruled that students can actually be released from public school during school hours to receive religious instruction. However, almost no one knows it's possible. LifeWise Academy provides the structure and tools for local communities to put to work. This program is taking off nationwide, and our kids' futures are being changed. Would you consider leading the charge to start a LifeWise in your neighborhood school? The first step is to voice your support at lifewiseacademy.org. Is your congregation confident when it comes to sharing the faith? Most Christians would like to share their faith, but simply don't know how. Lutheran Lay Renewal of America offers a Sharing Your Faith workshop that examines the spiritual and psychological barriers to faith and offers effective ways to open the door to friendly spiritual conversations. Perfect for a Sunday morning Bible class, this 1-hour workshop is offered at no cost to any Christian church. To schedule, call 724-287-5151 or visit LutheranRenewal.com.
Your life, your hopes, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m. It's really none of our business, and it shouldn't be anyone else's. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
We are everywhere. On your radio at 101.5 WORD-FM Pittsburgh, at wordfm.com, the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
Your home contractors, the guys who come in and do the heavy lifting, tearing down walls, putting in new appliances, changing things. I love these guys. I mean, they're like in superheroes in some way.
Are you kidding me? Can you imagine what our houses would look like if you and I were doing it?
Oh my! That's a whole other story. Now, during the pandemic, of course, everybody took a hit. But, Kath, you yourself having major renovations done in your downstairs,
currently,
your first floor.
Even as we speak.
Kitchen, dining room, living room, and whatnot. So your contractors are there. You see these guys. The head of the contracting crew is a guy named Matt.
He's the foreman. He's in charge of what's happening.
Yeah, and you see him and you think, whoa, Matt can do it. So how about this?
Could you do what Matt did today?
You know what Matt did today?
What did Matt do?
Matt found that we had sagging joists.
Oh.
I know it sounds like a personal problem.
What is that even?
In the ceiling of our first floor, holding up the second and third floors of the house. So you know what Matt did?
What? Charge you more money?
Reinforce them.
How?
His coworker, John, went down to the basement. He pushed up the floor of the first floor.
With what?
Which pushed, I don't know, am I authorized to go into a place like that? Of course not. I don't know how he did it. Pushed up the floor of the first floor, which pushed up the ceiling and the floor of the second floor, got it into its appropriate place, and then put a new, strong, well-placed joist right next to it.
What the heck? These are guys holding up your house.
And I was in the house while that was going on.
Matt and crew. That's money well spent? Is it not?
Is.
Fabulous. Okay, all right.
It was a big day.
It's a gigantic day because you probably couldn't do your work properly.
I said, what was going to happen if you guys didn't discover that? And they said, well, if you would have had a party in your bathroom, you all would have ended up on the first floor.
What the heck?
Would have just fallen right through.
How much was the bill for that?
I don't know yet.
Oh, there you go. There it comes. But
that's why Matt went home smiling.
I mean, given the choice of falling between,
Aren't
floors,
you glad?
Heck yeah, I am. Which makes you wonder, everybody's worried about the bridges. Now you're worried about your houses. What about my house? Well, if I go home and I don't have Matt there and I'm falling through the ceiling.
There's no happy place.
Oh,
our minds are just going a million a minute.
Life makes you anxious.
Out of here.
Doesn't it? Thank God there's heaven. Holy smokes.
If you missed any portion of today's show, you can check out our podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will
Where do you
be
get yours?
I don't know, Spotify, Apple.
Where do you get your podcast?
I get them.
Hey, are the podcasts ripe today? Because I want to get some.
You can get them anywhere, John.
What the heck?
You can go to iHeart. You can go to Odyssey.
Odyssey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, tomorrow's going to be a fun Friday show. We'll have the Week in Review.
Yeah.
We'll have This or That. And
Doug Oster,
Everybody
back
Gardens.
From Costa Rica.
And Craig Wolfley, former offensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers and voice of the Pittsburgh Steelers Radio Network, will join us to talk Super Bowl.
Sounds like a show. Always a pleasure.
And our picks for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for that.
God willing,
Christy's
we'll see you
still in the lead.